Hey everyone, how you doing? So, Fortnite Battle Royale. Looking back on the history of this game, it is honestly a miracle that it's still somehow relevant in this day and age. Battle Royales as a genre of gaming have basically died out nowadays, and yet Fortnite is still lurking around with an unhealthy amount of the market share. And when you look at what this game did to set itself apart from the competition, it's not hard to see how that's still the case. Sometimes they added new items or new maps entirely to freshen things up at stale times. Sometimes they added extremely well balanced and fun seasons when that didn't work. And sometimes, just sometimes, they would even steal ideas and concepts from other games just to make theirs look more appealing. The biggest example of this by far is Apex Legends' respawning system, which Epic made into Reboot Vans one season after that game released. This is no coincidence considering how popular Apex was back in the day, even forcing Epic to make one of their battle passes free. But it's that last example that's made me reflect on Fortnite recently, and how one of their stolen ideas happened to steal my heart. That mode is Fortnite Reload. And in my opinion, I believe this game mode single-handedly ruined Fortnite for me. That's a very bold statement, and in today's video, I want to explain my thought process on why I think this. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. But first, use code SylviaYSI. That wasn't in the script, but I forgot to add it. Oops. Considering the weight of the topic we'll be discussing, I think context is a pretty big key here. So let's first discuss the state of Fortnite. As of right now, Fortnite is a pretty big game, right? That's no secret, I'm sure, but it's especially obvious when you start getting into what Epic Games added over the course of a few years that makes this especially true. Nowadays, opening the game itself and trying to find a game mode is legitimately difficult, especially if you're not used to the UI. The reason why there's so many game modes to choose from boils down to 2 points. 1. Creative being integrated into the base game, and 2. Epic making more game modes to appeal to more audiences. Let's discuss both of these points. When it comes to creative, Epic has always been very open about the idea of letting creators essentially make Fortnite for them. The game mode first launched in Chapter 1 Season 7, and it was a massive hit because people with a supported creator code could post their own maps if they so desired. And many did, with a lot of these old maps becoming classics in the community. So many ideas spawned from the first few seasons of creative maps, and Epic saw potential in the concept. Over time, they allowed people to make more maps, eventually giving some creators access to even more map creation features too. And they also let creative players get XP for actually playing creative, which only brought even more incentive into playing the game mode. These changes would eventually lead to the decision of letting creative take over the main menu. Nowadays, looking at what's featured kinda reminds me of Roblox with how rough some of these maps are, but that's kind of what Epic had in mind. Infinite games, all made thanks to talented, or untalented creators, most lacking substance but still being cash cows for Epic, the only catch being a lack of microtransactions within said games. It's a bit uncanny, honestly. The main menu for Fortnite just looks sloppy. Really sloppy. But regardless, this isn't all Epic's done to make Fortnite last because they've added a ton of game modes themselves. I'm sure a large majority of you remember when Epic decided to add 3 game modes at the same time at Chapter 5's launch, those being LEGO Fortnite, Fortnite Festival, and Fortnite Racing. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize how vastly different and unique all 3 of these modes are. And on top of that, Epic also added Fall Guys and Rocket League support, along with other additional game modes like Ballistic on top of what's already there. To say that Epic was busy with making this game as appealing to as many people as possible is the world's biggest understatement. Now, I have a lot to say about the current state of Fortnite's game mode selection, but honestly, I could save that for a future video. It's ultimately not the topic here. What matters in this discussion is why these game modes exist, and it's to further push out Fortnite's existence onto the world. And it's working. Fortnite nowadays might be lacking a good amount of the charm that it once had, but you can't deny how smart this move was for Epic Games. You would be hard pressed to find anybody with a modern console that hasn't at least tried Fortnite, especially in the past couple of years. It's kind of becoming Minecraft in a way, where most people have heard about the game and even played it in the past. And considering how Fortnite's a free game too, well, it shouldn't shock you that it continues to get millions of players in its servers every day. With that being said, it's clear that Epic's focus on game modes is still set on Battle Royale being the biggest and most frequently updated, albeit resembling more of Chapter 2's methods than anything else. See, Epic takes a bit of a hands-off approach to updating Battle Royale nowadays, as in they just decide to leave the game at weekly or semi-weekly updates. That's not a bad thing at all, but it can definitely leave a lot to be desired, especially on a massive map like the Chapter 6 one. So ultimately, the current state of Fortnite is a little weird, where it's definitely stable and constantly seeing a high player count, but it's also just like there's no reason to stick to playing Battle Royale anymore. And that's where Reload comes in, because I think this mode was specifically made for people like me. Okay, this is the fun part of the video. What exactly is Reload? Well, it shouldn't surprise you too terribly much that this mode was basically stolen from Call of Duty Warzone. Specifically the mode called Resurgence there. Resurgence is a mode that keeps its idea extremely simple. It's a battle royale, but smaller and with respawning. That's it. It's so basic, it's almost amusing, but it works amazingly. The map is condensed, and as long as even one of your teammates stays alive, you can respawn. After a while, the game will turn into a regular battle royale match with respawning turned off. And with that mindset change, the game becomes a lot more action-packed, since now you actually have to be careful about what you do. It's kind of genius how well Warzone executed this idea, and I think Fortnite nails it just as well. Reload is a game mode with a very similar concept, as 40 players all jump onto the same small map, with the only goal being to eliminate each other. If you're playing by yourself, you're given a net 3 lives, so you have to play pretty smart to hold on to them all. But if you do manage to hold on to them, you're awarded extra shields once reboots end, which can be used in your favor even heavier if you played well. Though for team-based modes, you don't get extra shields at all, instead having infinite lives until your entire team is wiped out. Okay, so far so good, that's pretty understandable, but wait, there's more. One of the biggest perks of Reload is how they treat respawns and looting up. When you respawn, you're given a basic AR, several ammunition types, and 10 wood builds. That alone is pretty generous, and on top of this, killing any player, no matter what they have on their bodies, will drop 5 builds for every material type and extra ammo. On top of this, ammo boxes were gigabuffed in this mode and give you loads more ammo than you could ever dream, with supply drops giving a ton of materials along with a bunch more loot. And that's not even getting into the actual loot itself. Reload has a loot pool entirely composed of weapons and items from previous seasons and chapters, with most of them being fan favorites, such as the charge shotgun, the burst striker AR, the hand cannon, and more. You'd be hard pressed to find a legitimately unfun weapon in this mode, because the loot pool is constantly getting updated, so you don't really have to worry about dealing with a pool that you don't like for too long. The game mode also has a ton of mobility to give the player, like shockwaves and grapplers, plural. Yes, you have an off chance of getting some mythics and exotics from previous chapters too. It's absolutely insane how much depth there is to this game mode. And this is ignoring the insane amount of fan service for the first chapter of Fortnite, like all the old POIs they added for both maps currently in Reload. To say that this game mode is incredible and a breath of fresh air for anyone who enjoys playing competitively is a massive understatement. I would dare say this game mode is the most fun I've had playing the game since 2020, which is insane. Yeah, but it's not something I take lightly at all. It's a damn good mode, and it's pretty clearly being managed by people who genuinely love Fortnite Battle Royale. With that being said, it's obviously not perfect. I mean, there can occasionally be balancing issues with the loot pool, and the player base can be questionable individuals, but none of that has permanence, and I think that's what personally draws me to the mode the most. It's the way the game mode is constantly getting changes, the way that you could stop playing for 2 weeks and see new weapons on a familiar map with a familiar idea that really draws me to Reload. It's genuinely amazing. And that leads me to the final topic in this video. How did Reload ruin Fortnite for me? Well, simply put, it raised my standards immensely for what the game should feel like. And honestly, playing the regular BR mode nowadays just feels stale in a way. Even if it has the most modern loot and everything in between, it just doesn't feel the same as a loot pool that's consistently fun to work with. It's not even an issue of not understanding the weapons and not wanting to understand them, because before Reload was a thing, I never really played Chapter 4, so most weapons from it appearing in the game mode were completely new to me. Even still, I used them and began to very quickly find myself loving a few in particular. But I just can't feel the way about regular BR anymore. Maybe it's the way that everything's handled that ended up changing my perspective, but it's how I feel. It's seriously gotten to a point where I just can't play the OG Battle Royale map. Seriously, it feels so far behind the times that I just can't enjoy it anymore. I've tried every old season that's released, and every single one of them has felt the exact same to me. Sluggish and a time sink. It's a pretty impressive feat to see Reload somehow single-handedly making the core game feel repetitive and boring, while simultaneously being exactly that, just with a different coat of paint, but I still love it. This could genuinely be my competitive side talking, but Reload just feels right. It feels like the Fortnite experience that I wish I had years ago. I really hope Epic keeps updating it because it genuinely deserves the support it gets from the community. And considering how there were rumors of a third map eventually being released, yeah, wouldn't shock me too much. And with that, I think I'll end this video here. This might be one of the more questionable videos I've released, but I feel like I had to get my opinion out there no matter what. I genuinely do love and appreciate Fortnite for almost everything it is, and Reload is no exception. Even if I think Reload ruined the game for me, it's not like it's actually ruined. It's more like I know what I really want now, and I can play the other game modes whenever I feel like trying something different. I hope this video didn't come off as too negative regarding everything else about the game, because I genuinely love Fortnite, and I don't want to knock down any of the game modes. I just think Reload is truly the best thing we've got right now. With that being said, do you agree with my opinions? Do you not? Tell me your thoughts and more in the comments down below. Also, if you're new around here and you like what you see, then maybe consider subscribing too. It helped me out a ton, and you get to see more of my content in the future, so it's a win-win. And finally, I'd like to give some big shoutouts to my Extra Wise Eye channel members, those being Dan B, Envious, Error Kiro, Garfield Fan, Glitch into Code 867, Johnny Homeowner, Nicholas Van Koski, Plagued, and Song. Alongside my other YSI members, thank you all so much for your continued support, y'all rock. And now, as for me here, I'm gonna go be a hero, and my own biggest fan, my own enemy too. So, I'll see y'all in my next video. Peace. Bad there. My aim is terrible. My aim is terrible. My aim is terrible. My